My son Ryan called to uninvite me from his beach wedding because his fiancée Ashley doesn't feel comfortable with me there. I hung up the phone, poured myself a glass of wine, and started planning the most viral wedding video of the year. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. Let me back up and tell you how I, Margaret Williams, 62-year-old retired high school principal, became the most talked about mother-in-law on social media in 3 days flat. It started Tuesday morning when my phone rang. "Mom, we need to talk," Ryan said, using that tone he'd perfected since childhood when he was about to disappoint me. "What's wrong, sweetheart?" "Ashley and I have been discussing the wedding. And well, she's really stressed about everything being perfect. You know how brides get." I knew where this was heading, but I let him dig his own grave. "And? The thing is, she doesn't feel comfortable with you there. She thinks your presence might make things awkward. 27 years I raised this boy alone after his father decided fatherhood wasn't his calling. I worked double shifts to pay for his college, his car, his apartment deposit. I bit my tongue through 2 years of Ashley's passive-aggressive comments about my outdated opinions and old-fashioned cooking. "I see," I said calmly, though my hand tightened around the phone. "And you agree with this decision?" "Mom, please don't make this harder than it is. It's just one day. We'll have a nice dinner after they get back from their honeymoon." "Of course," I replied. "I understand completely." The relief in his voice was audible. "Really? Thanks, Mom. I knew you'd be reasonable about this." After I hung up, I sat in my kitchen staring at the wedding invitation on my refrigerator. The elegant script announced that Ashley Thompson and Ryan Williams would be exchanging vows at Sunset Beach Resort this Saturday, the same invitation I'd helped Ryan address because Ashley claimed her carpal tunnel was acting up. I removed the invitation, tore it in half, and threw it in the trash. Then I opened my laptop and started researching. See, here's what my dear future daughter-in-law didn't know about me. I might be 62, but I've been on social media longer than she has. I taught high school for 30 years, which means I've dealt with entitled teenagers and their drama for decades. Ashley Thompson Williams was about to learn that this old dog knew a few tricks she'd never seen. But first, I needed to make a phone call. I called my sister Sandra at 8 a.m. sharp the next morning. Sandy's always been the wild one in the family, the one who never met a scheme she didn't like. "Maggie? What's wrong? You never call this early unless someone's dead." "Not dead. Just disowned. Ryan uninvited me from his wedding." "He did what? That little weasel? After everything you've done for him?" I told her the whole story while she made appropriately outraged noises. Sandy's 2 years younger than me, but acts 20 years younger, which made her perfect for what I had in mind. "So what's the plan?" she asked when I finished. "Because I know you've got one. You've got that calculating voice you used when the Patterson kid tried to cheat on his SATs. I need you to do some reconnaissance for me. Ashley Thompson, age 28, works at Morrison Marketing downtown. I need to know everything about her daily routine. Maggie Elizabeth Williams, what are you planning?" "Nothing illegal. Just information gathering." There was a pause. "This is about more than the wedding, isn't it?" She was right. For 2 years, I'd watched Ashley systematically isolate Ryan from his family and friends. She'd convinced him that I was too critical, and his college buddies were immature. Every holiday became a negotiation where Ashley's comfort came first. Every family dinner included subtle digs about my cooking, my house, my life choices. I'd stayed quiet because I didn't want to lose my son. Apparently, I lost him anyway. "Sandy, what would you say if I told you I had a video that might interest the wedding guests?" I'd say, "Tell me more." Saturday morning, I was having coffee at Brewster's Cafe downtown. You know, the one with the outdoor seating. I was minding my own business when I saw Ashley meet someone. A tall man with dark hair, not Ryan. "Oh, Maggie, please tell me you didn't." I didn't plan it, but when I saw her practically climbing into this stranger's lap in broad daylight, 2 days before her wedding, well, I thought someone should document it. The truth was, I'd been following Ashley for 3 days. Something about her smug confidence when she'd answered Ryan's phone the night he called to uninvite me had rubbed me the wrong way. Ashley was too sure of herself, too certain she'd won. I'd learned a long time ago that people who are hiding something usually reveal it when they think no one's watching. "You got it on video?" 47 minutes of Ashley Thompson being very, very friendly with someone who definitely isn't my son. Sandy laughed. a sound that reminded me why we'd been troubled together as teenagers. What do you need me to do? Meet me at the mall tomorrow. We're going shopping for the perfect wedding gift. Thursday morning, Sandy and I met at Riverside Mall like two suburban housewives planning a garden party instead of what could generously be called strategic revenge. So what's our cover story? Sandy asked as we walked past the fountain where teenagers were taking selfies. We're not spying. We're shopping for wedding gifts. Very thoughtful, personalized wedding gifts. We'd driven past Morrison Marketing that morning, confirming Ashley's schedule. She left for lunch at exactly 12:15 p.m. and returned at 1:30 p.m. every day. According to the receptionist, Sandy had charmed with a story about wanting to surprise Ashley with flowers. The man from the cafe video was Jake Patterson, which I'd learned from doing what any reasonable person would do. I followed them. Jake owned a fitness studio 3 blocks from Ashley's office, married according to his Instagram. 2 kids, wife named Jennifer who posted inspirational quotes and family photos daily. This is getting complicated, Sandy said, as we settled into a coffee shop across from the gym. It's about to get simple. Look, Ashley emerged from the gym at 2:45 p.m. wearing workout clothes that cost more than my monthly electric bill. Her hair was perfectly styled, despite allegedly just finishing a workout. She checked her phone, looked around carefully, then walked to a black SUV parked in the alley. Jake appeared 5 minutes later, casual as anything, and got into the passenger seat. They're not even trying to be discreet, Sandy muttered. I raised my phone and started recording again. Why should they? Who's going to tell? Ashley's convinced everyone that I'm a bitter old woman who resents her happiness. Ryan would never believe anything negative about his precious fiancée. The SUV pulled out of the alley and drove toward the residential district. I'd already mapped this route yesterday. They went to a small apartment complex on Maple Street, Unit 214, where Jake apparently kept a second residence that his wife didn't know about. We're following them? We're taking a scenic drive. If we happen to see something interesting, well, that's just lucky timing. 20 minutes later, we sat in my car watching Ashley and Jake disappear into the apartment building. I made a note of the time. 3:17 p.m. They'd been doing this for weeks, according to my observations. Every Tuesday and Thursday like clockwork. Maggie, what are you going to do with all this? I looked at my sister, remembering how she'd held my hand through Ryan's father leaving, through every school play and baseball game when I'd been the only parent cheering. Sandy had been there for every milestone, every crisis, every moment that mattered. Now my son was marrying someone who thought I wasn't worth including in his wedding. I'm going to give them exactly what they deserve, a wedding video they'll never forget. Friday evening, I sat in my home office editing video footage like a filmmaker preparing for the Oscars. Technology might change, but the skills I'd learned making year-end presentations for the school board transferred beautifully to creating what I was now calling my wedding gift. The doorbell rang at 7 p.m. Ryan stood on my porch holding a bottle of wine and wearing a guilty expression. Mom, can we talk? I let him in, noting how he avoided eye contact and headed straight for the kitchen where we'd had every serious conversation of his life. I brought your favorite wine, he said, setting the bottle on the counter. Bribery wine. This must be serious. He had the grace to look embarrassed. I know yesterday was hard. Ashley feels terrible about how everything came out. I'm sure she does. The thing is, her family's very formal. They have these traditions about wedding parties and guest lists. Her grandmother's really old-fashioned about these things. Each lie came easier than the last. I'd met Ashley's grandmother exactly once. A delightful woman who'd told me she was thrilled Ashley had found someone with such a wonderful mother. Apparently that conversation had never made it back to Ashley. Ryan, sit down. He perched on the bar stool like a guilty teenager. Mom, please don't make this about you. It's their day. You're right. It is their day, and I want it to be perfect for them. Relief flooded his face. Really? You're not mad? I reached across the counter and squeezed his hand, the same hand I'd held through countless doctor visits and school events and heartbreaks. Sweetheart, I just want you to be happy. That's all I've ever wanted. I love you. Mom, you know that, right? I know. After he left, I went back to my computer. The video was almost finished. 3 files total: the cafe meeting, the gym rendezvous, and yesterday's apartment visit. Clear footage, perfect audio, timestamps visible. Everything a good documentary should have. I'd also spent the afternoon creating social media accounts. Not for me, of course. I was just a heartbroken mother who'd been excluded from her son's wedding. But my friend, Sarah Mitchell, whose profile I'd crafted carefully with stock photos and a believable backstory, had quite a following already. Sarah was a wedding photographer who believed in truth and transparency. She posted inspiring quotes about love and honesty. She had strong opinions about fidelity and respect in marriage. People loved her content. Tomorrow, Sarah would attend a beach wedding as a guest and happened to capture some very interesting footage. My phone buzzed with a text from Ryan. "Thanks for understanding. Mom, you're the best. See you when we get back." I typed back, "Have a wonderful wedding, sweetheart. You deserve everything that's coming to you." True words, every one of them. Saturday morning dawned perfect for a beach wedding. Sunny, 78 degrees, gentle breeze. I dressed carefully in a navy blue sundress and comfortable sandals, grabbed my professional-grade camera, and drove to Sunset Beach Resort. The parking lot was filling with wedding guests. I recognized several people from Ryan's college years and Ashley's work friends. They all looked happy and excited, checking their phones and fixing their makeup before the ceremony. I parked 3 rows back and watched the setup. The ceremony would take place on the beach at 4 p.m., reception in the resort ballroom afterward. I'd helped Ryan plan enough of this wedding to know every detail back when I was still invited. At 2 p.m., I walked into the resort lobby like I belonged there. Nobody questioned a well-dressed woman with a camera. Wedding photographers were everywhere at beach resorts. "Excuse me," I asked the concierge. "Could you direct me to the Thompson Williams Wedding Preparation Suite?" "Of course. The bridal party is in the Sunset Suite on the 3rd floor. Just follow the signs." I took the elevator up and found the hallway bustling with activity. Bridesmaids in coral dresses hurried between rooms, carrying flowers and makeup bags. The groomsmen were in the Sunrise Suite across the hall, and I could hear Ryan's voice through the door. For a moment, I almost wavered. He sounded so happy, so excited. This was my son's wedding day, regardless of everything else. Then Ashley's voice carried from the bridal suite. "God, I'm so glad we didn't invite his mother. Can you imagine? She would have found some way to make this about her. I mean, the woman still dresses like it's 1995. Her bridesmaids laughed, and I heard one of them say, "At least you won't have to deal with her very often after this." Living in different states will help. Different states? They were moving? I moved closer to the door, pretending to adjust my camera settings. "Ryan doesn't know yet," Ashley continued. "I'm going to tell him after the honeymoon. I got offered a position in California, and honestly, it's the perfect excuse to get away from all his baggage. His friends are immature, and his mother is just clingy and pathetic." Another voice. "What if he doesn't want to move?" Ashley's laugh was cold. "He'll do whatever I tell him to do. He always has. The man is completely whipped." I'd heard enough. More than enough. I walked back to the elevator, rode down to the lobby, and went outside to wait. The wedding would start in 2 hours. Jake Patterson would be attending as Ashley's friend from work, according to the guest list I'd helped compile months ago. This was going to be very interesting. At 3:45 p.m., I took my position on the public beach access, close enough to film everything, but far enough to avoid recognition. The wedding party assembled as the guests took their seats. Ryan looked handsome in his white linen suit. Ashley was stunning in her designer gown. The officiant began the ceremony with words about love, commitment, and honesty. I started recording. The ceremony was beautiful. I'll give them that. Ryan's eyes filled with tears when Ashley walked down the aisle. The vows were traditional but heartfelt. Even I got a little emotional watching my son promise to love and honor someone who, in about 48 hours, would be the most hated bride on the internet. After the "you may kiss the bride" moment, the guests moved to the reception. I followed at a distance, filming everything. The cocktail hour, the dinner, the speeches that praised Ashley's sweetness, and Ryan's luck in finding such a wonderful woman. Then came the dancing. Ashley and Ryan had their first dance to "At Last" by Etta James. So romantic, so perfect, so completely ironic, given what I knew about the bride's extracurricular activities. At 9:30 p.m., I noticed Jake Patterson approaching Ashley during a slow song. They spoke briefly, and I caught her glancing around nervously before following him toward the beach exit. I slipped out a side door and positioned myself behind a sand dune with my camera. The audio wasn't as clear outside, but the visual was crystal clear. Ashley and Jake walked to a secluded spot about 50 yards from the reception. Even with the distance, the body language was unmistakable. This wasn't a casual conversation between work friends. He kissed her. She kissed him back. For 3 full minutes, while her new husband danced with his best man's wife inside, completely oblivious. I filmed every second of it. When they separated, I heard Ashley say, "2 more hours and we can leave. I told Ryan I have a headache coming on." "My room's ready," Jake replied. "Jennifer thinks I'm in Miami on business until Sunday." Perfect. One last celebration before the honeymoon. They walked back separately. Ashley first, then Jake 5 minutes later. I waited until they were inside before moving to the parking lot to upload everything to my laptop. 3 hours later, I was home with a USB drive containing 2 hours of Ashley's wedding day footage, plus the earlier videos from the cafe, gym, and apartment. I'd also captured several audio clips that would provide perfect context. I made myself a cup of tea and opened my laptop. Sarah Mitchell had been busy all week, building anticipation for her special wedding project that would expose the truth about modern marriage. Her follower count had grown to 50,000 people who were eagerly waiting for her next post. I looked at the clock. 2:17 a.m. In 5 hours, Ryan and Ashley would be flying to Cancun for their honeymoon. By the time they landed, Wedding Day Truth, When Love Isn't Enough, would be trending on every social media platform. I scheduled the post for 7 a.m. and went to bed. 3 days after being told I wasn't welcome at my son's wedding, I was about to give him the most memorable wedding gift of his life, the truth. By 9 a.m. Sunday morning, Wedding Day, Truth, When Love Isn't Enough, had 2.3 million views and climbing. My phone had been buzzing non-stop since 7:30, but I was ignoring it while I made pancakes and watched the comment count explode. The video was masterfully edited, if I do say so myself. It started with beautiful wedding footage, Ryan and Ashley looking radiant, exchanging vows, dancing their first dance. Then the screen split. On one side, Ashley slow dancing with her new husband. On the other side, security camera footage from the cafe showing her with Jake 3 days earlier. The audio was devastating. Ashley's voice from the bridal suite, "God, I'm so glad we didn't invite his mother. The woman is just clingy and pathetic." Then cut to her wedding vows, "I promise to honor you above all others." The finale was pure cinematic gold. Ashley and Jake kissing on the beach while At Last played softly in the background. Then cut to Ryan inside, completely oblivious, laughing with his groomsmen. Sarah Mitchell had captioned it perfectly. "This groom deserves so much better. When you exclude family from your wedding, sometimes the truth finds another way to be heard." Wedding truth, justice, modern marriage. My phone rang for the 15th time. Ryan's number. I let it go to voicemail again. At 9:47 a.m., someone knocked on my door. Through the window, I saw Sandy holding a bag from my favorite bakery and grinning like the Cheshire Cat. "You magnificent, vindictive genius," she said, pushing past me into the kitchen. "Have you seen the news?" "What news?" She turned on my TV and flipped to the local morning show. There was Ashley's wedding photo on screen with the headline, "Viral Wedding Video Exposes Cheating Bride." The anchor was saying, "The identity of the videographer remains unknown, but the footage has sparked a national conversation about honesty in marriage and the treatment of extended family in modern weddings." "They're calling you a mystery wedding photographer," Sandy laughed. "Channel 7 wants to interview Sarah Mitchell, but can't find her. Imagine that." My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "We know it was you. Delete the video or there will be consequences." I showed Sandy the text. "Looks like Ashley's not enjoying her honeymoon. What are you going to do?" "Nothing. I'm a grieving mother who was excluded from her son's wedding. What would I know about viral videos?" The doorbell rang again. This time it was Jennifer Patterson, Jake's wife. I recognized her from her Instagram photos, but she looked nothing like the smiling woman who posted motivational quotes. Her eyes were red, her hands shaking. "Mrs. Williams, I'm Jennifer Patterson. I think we need to talk." I invited her in, offered coffee, and waited for her to speak. "My husband's in that video," she said quietly. "I've suspected something for months, But seeing it like that, with the timestamps, she broke down completely. "I'm so sorry," I said, and meant it. I never intended for losing everything at once. My marriage, my trust, Maybe my relationship with you too if you really did this. You're not losing me. Sweetheart, you never could. He hugged me before he left, holding on longer than he had in years. I love you, Mom. Whatever happens next, I need you to know that. After he drove away, I opened my laptop. The video had 8.2 million views. Sarah Mitchell had gained 200,000 followers, and Ashley had been tagged in approximately 50,000 comments. None of them supportive. Sometimes the truth is cruel, but it's still the truth. Wednesday morning brought an unexpected visitor. Ashley stood on my doorstep wearing oversized sunglasses and a baseball cap, looking nothing like the confident woman who'd excluded me from her wedding 4 days ago. "We need to talk," she said, pushing past me into my house without invitation. "Come in," I said to her retreating figure. She paced my living room like a caged animal. "You've destroyed my life. My job wants me to take a leave of absence. My family won't speak to me. Jake's wife is taking everything in their divorce and naming me as co-respondent. I'm sorry you're going through this." She whirled around. "Are you? Because I think you planned every second of this. I think you hired someone to follow me and Jake. I think you orchestrated this whole thing because your feelings got hurt." I sat down on my couch and gestured for her to do the same. She remained standing, vibrating with anger and desperation. "Ashley, let me ask you something. If roles were reversed, if Ryan had been having an affair and I had proof, would you want me to tell you? That's not the same thing, isn't it? You made choices. Those choices had consequences. The video didn't create your affair or your lies. It just revealed them. You don't understand. Jake and it's complicated. Ryan is sweet, but he's not challenging. He doesn't push me to be better. Jake does. So you married the wrong man. I married a good man. That should be enough." I studied Ashley's face, seeing something I hadn't noticed before. Under the anger and desperation was genuine confusion. She really believed she could have both lives, the security of marriage to Ryan and the excitement of an affair with Jake. "Ashley, did you love Ryan when you married him?" "Of course I did. I do." "Then why exclude his mother from your wedding?" She sat down finally, her composure cracking. "Because you see too much. You ask questions. You make me feel like I'm not good enough for him." "Are you?" The question hung in the air between us. Ashley's carefully constructed facade was crumbling in real time. "I don't know," she whispered. "I thought I was. But being with Jake made me feel alive in a way Ryan never did. And I thought I could have both, that nobody would get hurt if I was careful. Somebody always gets hurt, Ashley. The only question is who and when. I never meant for it to go this far. The affair was supposed to end after the wedding. Jake was supposed to be my last bit of freedom before settling into married life. But it didn't end. No, it got stronger. And then there was the job offer in California. And it seemed like a sign, a way to start over, maybe even find a way to be with Jake eventually. I felt an unexpected pang of sympathy for this young woman who'd made such destructive choices. "Ashley, you need to be honest with Ryan. About all of it. He'll leave me. He might. But if you keep lying, you'll definitely lose him, and you'll lose yourself too." She stared out my window for several minutes. "The video. Can you get it taken down?" "I can't. And even if I could, screenshots exist. It's out there now. So I'm ruined. My career, my marriage, my reputation, all because I made some bad choices. You're 28 years old. You're not ruined unless you choose to be. But you need to stop blaming everyone else and start taking responsibility." Ashley left without another word. Through my window, I watched her sit in her car for 10 minutes before driving away. That evening, Ryan called. "Ashley told me about her conversation with you. About California, about Jake, about everything. How are you doing?" "I'm filing for annulment. Turns out when your wife has been planning to relocate your entire life without telling you, it counts as fraud." Relief flooded through me. "I'm proud of you. Mom, I need to apologize for everything. For letting Ashley treat you badly, for excluding you from the wedding, for doubting you when the video came out. You don't need to apologize for loving someone. But I do need to apologize for choosing her over you. You've never been anything but supportive, and I let her convince me you were the problem. Ryan, what matters is that you see clearly now. I do, and I see that I have the strongest, smartest mother in the world, someone who taught me that actions have consequences, even when I forgot that lesson. What will you do now? I'm moving back home for a while. If that's okay, I need to figure out who I am when I'm not trying to be who someone else wants me to be. Your room is exactly as you left it. 3 weeks after the wedding that broke the internet, I was grocery shopping when a young woman approached me in the produce section. "Excuse me, are you Margaret Williams?" My heart stopped. Had someone figured out the connection between me and the viral video? "Yes, I am. I'm Sarah Chen from Channel 7 News. I've been investigating the wedding video story, and I'd like to ask you a few questions." This was it, the moment I'd been dreading. "I'm not sure how I can help you." "Well, you're Ryan Williams' mother, correct? The groom in the video?" "Yes. And you weren't invited to your son's wedding?" "That's correct." Sarah pulled out her phone and started recording. "How did that make you feel?" I looked at this young reporter, probably Ashley's age, eager for her big break. "It made me feel sad. Every mother wants to be part of her son's wedding day. Did you know about your daughter-in-law's affair?" I had no knowledge of Ashley's personal relationships beyond what I observed as Ryan's mother. "Some people online are speculating that you might have been involved in creating or distributing the wedding video. Any comment on that?" This was the moment of truth. I could lie, deny everything, and probably get away with it. Or I could own what I'd done and face the consequences. "Sarah, let me tell you something about being a mother. When your child is being hurt, your first instinct is to protect them. Sometimes that means stepping back and letting them learn from their mistakes. Sometimes it means intervening. So you're saying you did create the video? I'm saying that sometimes the truth needs help finding its way to the surface." Sarah's eyes widened. She'd gotten more than she bargained for. "Mrs. Williams, are you admitting on camera that you created the viral wedding video?" I thought about Ryan, home in his childhood bedroom, slowly rebuilding his confidence and sense of self. I thought about Jennifer Patterson, finally free from a lying husband. I thought about all the comments on the video from people thanking Sarah Mitchell for exposing the truth. "I'm admitting that I love my son enough to make sure he knows the truth about the person he married, even if it meant risking my relationship with him. Even though it humiliated your daughter-in-law publicly?" Ashley humiliated herself. I just documented it. The interview aired that evening. By the next morning, I was getting calls from talk shows, podcasts, and documentary filmmakers. Justice Grandma was trending on Twitter. Opinion pieces were being written about maternal intuition, wedding ethics, and the price of truth. Some people called me a hero. Others called me vindictive and cruel. I was simultaneously celebrated and condemned, sometimes by the same people. But Ryan supported me completely. "You saved me from making the biggest mistake of my life," he told reporters who showed up at our house. "My mother saw what I was too blinded by love to see." Ashley, meanwhile, had moved to California to take the job she'd planned all along. Jake was living in a studio apartment and working at a different gym after his wife took everything in the divorce. The video had over 50 million views now. Sarah Mitchell had become an internet legend, even though everyone knew she was really me. And I felt something I hadn't expected. Peace. For the first time in 2 years. I wasn't walking on eggshells around my son's girlfriend. I wasn't pretending to like someone who treated me with contempt. I wasn't enabling a relationship built on lies and manipulation. The truth had set us all free, even if freedom came at a cost. 6 months later, Ryan was doing better than I'd seen him in years. He'd started therapy, reconnected with old friends Ashley had systematically alienated, and begun dating a lovely woman named Emma, who actually seemed to enjoy my company. The viral video had become a case study in digital ethics classes and a cautionary tale about social media's power. I'd been interviewed by news programs, podcasts, and even a documentary crew. The story had been optioned for a Netflix movie, though I doubted they'd capture the complex emotions behind what looked like simple revenge. But the real vindication came when Ashley called me on a Tuesday evening in October. "Mrs. Williams, it's Ashley. Ashley Thompson." "Hello, Ashley. How are you?" "I'm different. Better, I think. I wanted to call and thank you." That wasn't what I'd expected. "Thank me?" "The video destroyed my life, but it also saved it. Does that make sense?" "Tell me." "I've been in therapy since I moved to California. Real therapy, not just the couples counseling Ryan and I tried. And I've realized that I was living someone else's version of what my life should look like. The perfect wedding, the successful husband, the suburban house. None of it was actually what I wanted. I sat down, phone pressed to my ear. What do you want? I want to be someone who tells the truth, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. I want to be someone who doesn't need to sneak around or lie or manipulate people to feel alive. And are you becoming that person? I'm trying. I ended things with Jake permanently. I told my parents about the affair and the divorce. I'm dating someone new, and he knows everything about my past. No secrets. I'm glad you're finding your way. Mrs. Williams, I need to apologize. Not just for the affair, but for how I treated you. You were never the problem. I was just threatened by how clearly you saw me. Ashley, we all make mistakes. Y'all. What matters is learning from them. I've learned that you can't build a life on lies, no matter how pretty those lies look from the outside. And I've learned that mothers who ask hard questions are usually worth listening to. After we hung up, I sat in my kitchen thinking about the strange journey that had brought us all to this point. An excluded mother, a viral video, a marriage destroyed, lives changed forever. Had I done the right thing? The question had kept me awake for months. Ryan was happier and more confident than he'd been in years. Ashley was learning to live authentically. Jennifer Patterson had remarried and looked genuinely content in her social media posts. Even Jake, according to mutual friends, was working on himself and trying to rebuild his relationship with his children. Sometimes the truth burns everything down. But sometimes that's exactly what needs to happen for new growth to begin. The video still played occasionally on social media, usually accompanied by debates about privacy, family loyalty, and the price of justice. But I'd stopped reading the comments. I knew what I'd done and why I'd done it. I'd protected my son the only way I knew how. And in the end, isn't that what mothers are supposed to do? My phone buzzed with a text from Ryan. Dinner Sunday? Emma wants to learn how to make your famous lasagna. I typed back, perfect. I'll teach her all my secrets. Some secrets are worth sharing. Others are worth exposing. The trick is knowing the difference. And sometimes, if you're very lucky and very careful, the truth sets everyone free. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and feel free to share your story in the comments. Your voice matters.